Ladies and gentlemen in the XRP community, today I had a thought. And that thought is, that realization is that we've actually won. I'm not sure if that sinks into your brains on a daily basis or if this only comes back to you at moments of necessity or need. But I woke up today feeling extremely good. Not because of gains, no. But because I was right. No, that actually feels way better than many people imagine. I've had so many conversations with Bitcoin holders. I'm actually a Bitcoin holder, don't get it twisted. But with Bitcoin maximalists, I should say, that used to always tell me that I was wrong and that XRP would certainly not win from the SEC. And you want to know a fun fact? They have not changed their minds. Again, I am laughing at this because of the hysteria behind it. They are adamantly trying to seek validation in their arguments by saying, you know what? It's only a partial victory. Ripple scored a partial victory in its fight with the SEC this month. Quote, we think it's a major victory, not just for Ripple, but for the industry. Ripple VP of Central Bank Engagement and CBDC James Wallace says. You see the difference right there? Oh, Ripple had a partial victory versus Ripple won the motherfucking lawsuit. Yes, they've got to pay some fines eventually, maybe. Well, we'll figure that part out. But Ripple won the lawsuit in every way, shape, or form that counts to us. And John had a good answer to that. But before we dive in, guys, make sure you press that like button right now on this video. You don't have to. And I don't think you're going to get anything from it except for more juicy information. But it is greatly appreciated. And let's get going. Quote, this is from Rosalind Layden, our Forbes column writer, who right now doesn't write for Forbes anymore, I believe. The danger of the SEC prevailing hung over XRP holders and any holder, trader, or developer of any digital asset yesterday, today, and tomorrow. XRP could be replaced by any token or any asset at all. It was a bald-faced regulatory land grab. This is why the biggest winners from Therese decision were the retail XRP holders. And at the end of the day, guys, it was never about a penalty or a fine, because nobody cares about that. Even right now, as Ripple prepares for fines, some have said, nobody cares. It's all about the XRP non-security status. And we already said that's one of the SEC's non-negotiables, but also for Ripple. That if Ripple could pay some fines and XRP got the proper clarity, they would have surely signed a settlement. But the SEC didn't want to give that, and now the judge screwed them in the ass. Another fun fact is even though the SEC tried to shut them down, at the end of the day, a lot of central banks still wanted to work with Ripple. And we said before, now that the case is over, I believe it's going to be hastened, quickened, even though I don't think the lawsuit itself was bad, except for potentially in the United States. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really like CoinDesk as a content platform. A lot of what they share is just not something I agree with or not based a little bit too loosely on facts, I personally think. But on a little side note, and many people did not fetch this from my yesterday's video, XRP's volume on Korean exchanges over the January to May period was $24.5 billion for XRP. In that time period as well, it was only $9 billion for Ethereum. I've said this before, we are mostly busy with the English-speaking markets, yet XRP has really taken over in Asia. And also, guys, a big part of my day today has been going over a lot of these regulatory pieces. Yesterday night, I covered it for you guys in depth, all the different pieces in the sense that they're trying to control and manipulate you. Hopefully you've watched that video already, because it was definitely quite shocking to put all the evidence up front and realize really that it's all a big game of deceit and manipulation. However, in a positive field, it feels as if things are changing ever so slightly, ever so slowly, but that they are changing. I mean, there's always going to be the opposition who says the SEC actually won the Ripple case, which is delusional at best. But let's take a little bit of a look. Bill Morgan said he really gets the difference between a tokenized security, such as a tokenized stock and crypto asset, that not itself is a security, but could be sold as part of an investment contract. He gets it. The judge gets it. The UK Law Commission gets it. Why can't the SEC? And David Barrera, who is a avid believer that Ripple lost, says, every day I grow more convinced that it's all just a language game. And trust me when I say that this takes a lot of time to catch up with, because their discussions, or rather David's monologue, is pretty severe. But even David Schwartz had to chime in a couple of times to set the record straight. David's argument says a sale for purposes of the security laws only requires a disposition of an interest in a security. You can't apply a case that interprets an element of the statutory definition of a security to the interpretation of the separate and different definition of a sale. First off, I'd like to argue that the judge probably knows best, so why even speculate when the judge has ruled on this? So, yeah. But David says, since the legal definition of a sale contains the word security in it over and over, you can not only apply the statutory definition of security to determine what a sale, but you actually have to. David says, well, you're missing the point. If the security already exists, all that's required for a sale of that security to take place is a disposition of an interest in that already existing security. Bill says, again, he's a lawyer, how can the security already exist, if you mean XRP or tokens generally, if it does not fit into a defined as a security in the Securities Act, and investment contracts refer to offers or sales of something as part of an investment contract? Why is this tying you in knots? I mean, it doesn't work out. David says, the investment contract is created when the initial investor invests his money in common venture premised on the reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. Therefore, or after, the initial investor engages in secondary securities transactions merely by disposing of any of his interests in that already existing investment contract. And David says, that makes perfect sense for things like stocks that are inherently securities. They are security regardless of how they're offered. But that's incoherent nonsense for investment contracts, which are only securities by virtue of how they're offered and sold. In any event, I thought you'd already abandoned this view. Let's back up and see where we disconnected. If Alice sells XRP to Bob on a U.S. crypto exchange for the purposes of deciding whether or not this is a sale of a security or an interest in a security, does it matter how Alice got the XRP? I thought we had agreed to answer is no. But now you seem to be saying it's yes, because we need to do a Howey analysis on Alice's acquisition to see if an investment contract for her to dispose of her interest in. Say Alice, completely independently off Ripple, took XRP from the Genesis account back in 2012 and decided to sell it on Coinbase today. What do we do the Howey analysis on to see if she acquired an interest in an investment contract to dispose of in the sale? Other people's acquisition of XRP? Her taking XRP from the Genesis account back in 2012 when XRP had no value and it wasn't even clear if the ledger would be reset again? He has yet to respond to this harsh-hitting bombshell. But the reason I've been following a lot of these discussions is because I think it really puts to light a lot of the confusion surrounding this verdict. Not from the judge, that was quite clear, but from the, I'd say, crypto community that's on the opposite side of Ripple, where I always like to argue and put up again that we won. You know, there's always going to be opposition, but don't let this distract you. It's all distractions. And to that extent, please watch this video to the fullest, because it's interesting how this guy completely changed his mind, but he still refuses to acknowledge the judge's proper decision. You'll know what I mean in just a second. Take a look at this video right here.
Let's talk about when is it going to happen with XRP, because, of course, XRP has had an incredible run-up, even as it's got the SEC breathing down its neck. It got a favorable court ruling, rather, and we're waiting to see if the SEC will appeal that ruling, which basically was in XRP's favor. Right now, it's at 71 cents. Where do you think XRP moves toward through all of this drama?
Yeah, I'm not sure about prices. What I do know, though, is you had a group of people who went ahead and they were building a business, building technology.
Yep.
The government came in and said, hey, look, what you're doing is wrong. You're violating these rules. And they went to court. And I actually think that we are now seeing cases that have been going on for a long time where we're starting to get some of the judgments. We're starting to get some of the clarity. People in the crypto community have been asking for regulatory clarity for a long time. People in the regulatory bodies have been saying the existing rules are the clarity, comply with them. And so I think in the XRP case, it's a great example where they went to court, they laid out their arguments, the regulatory bodies laid out their arguments, and a judge made a decision. Now there's appeals and other kind of knock-on effects, but ultimately in the country of the United States, going to court and making your case is part of what it means to have the best capital markets
100%.
And freedom. Absolutely.
Part of the U.S. and our laws is that Congress can move to regulate things. Actually, the Bitcoin and the crypto world has been begging for guardrails to say, let us move forward.
And one of the nice things about it all is, like I kind of said at the start, they can't deny this any longer. We've won, and everybody has to come to terms with that. All right, there's going to be these guys who are going to try to have these discussions every single day of the week. but it can't really last that much longer because they've got no ammunition. They try to say, oh, the SEC is going to appeal. Boom, didn't happen. They can. The SEC still can appeal, but the longer they wait, the more annoying it's going to be for them to win. And as we stated before, Ripple also says it'll probably take years, if at all, for the SEC to appeal because right now it's just not going to work. Like, it would just be so stupid, like self-destruction. On an opposite end, I've also seen a lot of people say, and I think Anthony Pompliano here just said it too as well, in a beautiful manner, a lot of things are about to end right now. I mean, we talked, and I will talk later about the floodgates being opened, but in reality, it is the way. Because of the Ripple verdict, many things have started to be put into motion. Ripple's utility has been tenfolded, even though they will not admit it like that, but we all know the amount of new companies that want to work with Ripple now that everything's clear. But also for the crypto industry, it legitimized the industry, it hurt the SEC in every way, shape, or form. This ruling was crucial, important. And as they're also trying to change things over in Congress and all these different places, perhaps now it's finally the time where the locomotive, right, has been put into such a beautiful motion that really things cannot be stopped anymore. And I'm loving every single part of it. Again, they're going to try along every part of the journey to stop it, but it can't be. The train has left the station. Like Rosaria said, all right? That's a beautiful quote. I'm actually going to end off with that. But if you've not done it yet, make sure you check out the link down below to Bybit. Right now, you can get yourself $1,125 worth of an XRP trade for free. Or BitGet, you can claim yourself a couple of juicy prizes along this prize wheel for absolutely free. So go ahead and check those out. And I'm going to end off with this video of Rosaria saying the train has left the station. Because that's what's happening right now.
Today, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, the future of investments, the future of money, and specifically cryptocurrencies. Prior to becoming Treasurer of the United States, I was Managing Director of Investments for a $22 billion firm based in San Francisco. And I was asked by President Obama to be part of the Treasury transition team at the height of the financial crisis. And yes, it is my name on the lower left-hand side of U.S. money. I'm also on the board of Ripple, but I want to make something very, very clear. Blockchain is here to stay. The train has left the station. You're going to hear me quoted about that all the time.
Anyway, guys, make sure you put that notification bell on for in case something new drops tomorrow. You want to be notified. And that's about it. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.